all mandatory, and you understand that you need to do that to get a better grade.
Something I use like these notebooks. I went through like 1.5 just doing homework questions, exam review.
Recently, I've been receiving a lot of questions about optional and elective courses, so here I am making a video about it. A Bachelor of Health Sciences student take 30 units of courses under normal curriculum. The 30 units is made out of 18 units of core courses, and the rest, 12 units, is option and elective course. You can definitely take more than 30 units if you want, but I believe that there will be some tuition changes. I give a detailed description of the core courses in a video that I made a few weeks ago. Under the Bachelor of Health Sciences website, on the curriculum tab, you can see all the core courses and the optional courses listed. You can also go under the courses tab to read more about each course. The differences between option and elective courses, based on what I know, is that you have a list of option courses, which is under the curriculum tab, and for elective, you can take basically any course in the art and science faculty. A lot of our optional courses are offered by the art and science faculty, even some of our core courses. Many of the Bachelor of Health Sciences students in my cohort took Chem 112 and Psych 100 as their option and elective course, mainly because they are prerequisite for many health-related pathways. Some of them took bio, physics, and calculus because of their strength and their future career goals. There are also people who took language and art courses based on their interests. Today, I have recruited 5 students here with me to discuss their experience with the most commonly chosen courses. As always, our discussion is for information purpose only, and you should find out what fits you the most. Here we go!
Hi everyone, my name is Megan and I am a second-year health science student at Queen's University. Today, the elective course I'm going to be talking about is Psych 100. This is an introductory psychology course, which means that each week we'll cover sort of a different branch of psychology, and I'll give you a good overview of what this field is about. The structure of this course is that this is a 6-unit course, meaning that it runs for the entire school year. When I took this on campus, I had a 1-hour lecture and a 1-hour lab each week. The assessments were a midterm exam in October and a mid-year and final exam in December and April. And so the mid-year and final exam consisted of both multiple choice and short and long answer questions. You'll also get some other marks from clicker questions from within lectures or labs. In my opinion, I found labs to be sort of easy marks. They were kind of based off of participation. However, they were still useful because the TAs would sort of hint at what the short answer questions would be, so I would definitely recommend that you write those down, and as well as what the TAs say about those questions. A big question I get is Psych 100 really hard? And I find that personally, if you have a science background, the content shouldn't be too difficult to grasp. And I actually really like this part because there would be some overlap between our pharmacology and our anatomy and some other science courses as well that you would take as part of Bhsc. So, like for example, the psychology course covers, brain anatomy and neurons, drugs, epigenetics or pharmacology, which we definitely will learn about in our other courses as well. I think the only difficult part about this course is the amount of content. There is definitely a lot of memorization because the textbook readings are very detailed, and I find that the multiple choice questions would ask about quite specific components of the readings. It's very important to do your readings, keep up with them every week, and take detailed notes on them. The other thing is that the lecture also added a lot of content, and one thing I didn't like is the fact that the lecture would actually add a lot of new content, and sometimes there wouldn't be very much overlap between the lecture information and the readings information. So you definitely need to go to both your lectures and do your readings in order to do well in this course, and all content that they mention will be tested on the exams. The good thing is that both professors I found were really good at explaining concepts, and they use really good examples in the lectures to help you learn things, and you can always go after the lecture to ask them any questions if you need to. In terms of how I studied for this course, I used a lot of mind maps to kind of summarize content, and I would sort of link all of those ideas together and to prepare for the short and the long answers, since those tend to be the more difficult parts of the exam. I guess in summary, I think this is a really interesting course and it is definitely worthwhile if you are genuinely interested and put your effort into this course. Just remember that it is a lot of work, so don't think it's a bird course, but if you work hard, I think you'll do well.
Hi, I'm Ella, and I'll be talking about Chem 112 today. The reason I took this class is because I want to learn more about chemistry, and because I think that chemistry is very useful in health field, as like pharmacology and a lot of places uses chemistry knowledge to help us cope with questions and challenges. So the course is 1 year, which is 6 credits, and there's 3 lectures a week with 1 hour each, and a lab every week, which you have to do a lab prep quiz and a lab report afterwards. The lab is 3 hours composed of a tutorial and a lab. Also, there's a Mastering Chem question set every week that you have to do. It's basically just a bunch of questions where you have to calculate and then type in the answer. It's just on a computer. And there's office hours every week, which differs from professor to professor, that you can go in and ask questions about whatever course, teacher assigned questions, or mastering chem problems. If comparing to our core classes, I would say that chem is not a very time-consuming class. You go to lectures and you just take notes there. You don't really need to take notes any other time in your free time or outside of class. Compared to other electives, I know some people are taking physics and that can take up lots of time. Psych has a lot of readings, so if you take psych and chem, which is a very typical combination in my faculty, I would say that's very time consuming. So it depends on what classes, electives you take. There's not a lot of memorization in chem because it's not like a lot of info, but you do have to remember some equations and things like that. Although they give you an equation sheet on the exam, but I think it's very useful that you memorize some of it, so you don't have to look it up frantically when you're taking the test. I would say that this class fits in the schedule really nicely. Usually is Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday for lectures, and you pick a day to have your labs. So if you do lab this week, you need to finish the lab report by next Friday, 11:59 p.m., which is kind of unfair, I guess, because some people, if you have the lab Monday and you get until next Friday to finish the lab report, but some people have it Friday before, so you only get like a week. But I would say that it's not a very hard process to do. It just takes a little bit of time. So you get 2 professors for the whole entire year, and I got 1 Pong for first semester and Mrs. Bunders for second. I love Mrs. Bunders a lot. She's very patient. She loves you go asking her questions, go talk to her, or just go to her office hour and hang out with her. She is very nice. And I know a lot of people like Mr. Mumbercret and Mr. Brown. They're both very nice and excellent teachers. And as for class size, I would say that's a pretty big class. It's a typical first year class size of a few hundred people, so I suggest you to sit in the first few rows, but if you don't like the first few rows, then it's still up to you. I really like the professor for this class, and I don't really have anything that I don't like. It just takes a little time to do the lab report and the problem set, but it's all mandatory and you understand that you need to do that to get a better grade and know the knowledge better.
Hi everyone, my name is Sarah and I'm going to my second year of health sciences at Queen's University. So today I'll be talking about my experiences with Biology 102 and 103. So let's first get started with a brief summary of the course content. So Biology 102 is quite similar to grade 12 biology. It covers 2 main themes, which is cell biology and genetics. So for the cell biology part, it covers topics such as the structures, metabolism, photosynthesis, cell respiration, and cell communication, whereas the genetics portion contains topics such as DNA replication, transcription, translation, and genetic engineering such as PCR and DNA sequencing. So for me personally, I think Biology 103 contains more new contents. It goes into the broader concepts talking about the organisms, systems, ecosystems, and biospheres. It focuses more on the diversity and ecology of biology. So after talking about the main topics, let's go into a little bit more details about the class structure. So Biology 102 contains 2 lectures and 1 lab per week, whereas Biology 103 contains 3 lectures and 1 lab per week. So all the labs in first year biology are drive labs, which means that you'll be utilizing your computer models and softwares to analyze data and solve case studies. So for example, I learned how to use NCBI and Jamovie to analyze data. And for each lab section, you'll be working with 3 or 4 other students on an assignment that is due by the end of the class. And overall, for the lab section, I found that utilizing NCBI to analyze gene was quite interesting. So overall, I really liked biology because it provided me with a great summary of evolution, starting from the smallest molecules to cells and then to larger communities, ecosystems, and biospheres. However, biology is definitely a content-heavy course. It requires a lot of reading, memorizing, and also applying those knowledge in case studies. For health sciences students at Queen's University, biology can be a little repetitive with your physiology and anatomy core courses, but it provides you with more insights into biotechnology, plants biology, and animals biology. So if you're interested in those topics, then I would definitely recommend you taking the course. That's it. Bye.
Hey guys, my name is Lynne Alto, and I'm going into my second year of health sciences, and I'm here to talk about Physics 117 as an elective. So the reason why I took it is because I thought it would be a nice break from the memorization, because it's more application-based, problem solving, a little bit of theory, stuff like that. It was helpful for me to have Physics 11 and Physics 12 because physics isn't naturally my strong suit, but having those courses, I thought it would kind of carry me through to help me get a better grade. And so if you have the courses, great, they'll be super helpful. If not, so many of my classmates hadn't either, and they were completely fine. Just some more work. So the course is full year, which means 6 units. If it was going to be a half year, it would be 3 units, like our core courses. There was lots of review from grade 12 and 11, and so that's why the courses will be helpful. The problems are just harder. You'll definitely need practice, especially if you're like me and it doesn't come very easily. It's just about learning different methods of problem solving, and you'll get it. The course load was pretty standard. I found you just have to practice problems, there's homework, there's optional tutorials. I had 3 lectures a week, and I had a lab as well. The lab was 3 hours, and we just did it in the lab. If you have a fun partner, then goes by really nicely. So for note taking during lectures, every morning I would print out 4 slides per page, and I would take notes on the slides, and that would be helpful because the questions would already be written down, and then I could work them out on the page. If you only print out the slides, then you're not going to have the full notes if you don't go to the lecture. Some people did write it out by hand, but it's very time consuming because you have to write out the full question to make sure you can understand it later. So if you do write it down by hand, I recommend a separate notepad for note-taking and for problem solving. For problem solving, I use like these notebooks. I went through like 1.5 just doing homework questions, exam review, past exams, stuff like that. My professor was awesome. Her name's Ann Topper, and she's always available over email. Really, really nice reply time. She's very passionate about teaching, and you'll meet Ducky as well, her cute little rubber ducky that she uses for demonstrations. And I think that's pretty much it. The marking is pretty standard because, you know, if you get it right, you get it right. If you get it wrong, you get it wrong. So it's not super subjective. And yeah, I really recommend taking the course. Again, it was just a nice break from all the memorization. It's just a lot, kind of a different type of learning, which I really enjoyed. Thanks.
Hi, so I decided to take calculus as one of my electives in first year. And calculus is a 6-unit course, so it's 2 semesters long. And the reason I took calculus is because I genuinely enjoyed taking calculus in high school. So I think it's really important to take a course and an elective you think you will enjoy, and not just do something that you might think majority of people are doing, because if you enjoy a course, you're more likely to do well in it, which was the case with me. And so I did take AP Calculus in high school, which I think really helped me because first semester is very similar to all the content you learn in high school. So it's just expanding a bit on it through various word problems you do, like they're expanded on the knowledge that you learn in high school. But genuinely speaking, it was quite easy to get through first semester. Second semester, I didn't take Calculus Bhsc in high school, so it was a little bit harder, like I said, I enjoyed it, so I did appreciate the fact that I got to learn more and expand on my knowledge. So the professor is, Professor Abelson teaches calculus at Queen's first year usually, like at least for me, he taught us first semester, and I love him so much. Everyone loves him, everyone only has great things to say about him. He's a great teacher and he's always there to help you. Never be afraid to reach out to Professor Abelson. He always has a smile. He really loves teaching math. It's so great to be in his class. He teaches main campus calculus, which is what I took, and there is biocalculus, which is taught on West Campus. Now there is a difference between the two, unlike most classes that are on West versus main. The difference lies in the style and the word problems you're taught. So even though you generally learn the same syllabus, the word problems are a bit different for main campus and West Campus, because West Campus has a bit of a science factor to it. So in terms of like biology, like I know that the problems that my friends did were a bit different from what I did, but overall similar, just slight differences here and there, but it's something to keep in mind. I just like more of the math aspect, like the normal word problems that I would do in high school aspect of it, which is why I would personally recommend to you, if that's your case, to take main campus calculus. And the thing is, math is structured so well because we have 3 classes in a week, usually 2 classes, but one of them is a tutorial that happens bi-weekly if I remember correctly. So on Mondays we have to have our homework done from the previous unit, and we take up any questions in class. So there's a poll that the professors usually set up, and then in class we will go over the questions that collectively the class found difficult. And then on Wednesdays or Thursdays, depending on how they divide the large class up into 2 halves, and the second half is able to engage within a LDI, they call it. So it's like a discussion where they discuss the next unit. So you're expected to have done the videos for the next unit then, and then you go over it, and it's great because even if you're not fully done the videos, at least you have something to start on. And I think it's just perfectly structured, I believe, in my opinion. It's easy to fall behind if you do not complete your homework, because the only way you're learning is if you're doing practices, and I think that's said for any class, especially math. You should know that if you're interested in taking math. It depends a lot on if you take homework, because all the term tests and all the exam questions are usually from homework, if not straight from homework. They have slight changes, though it is important to do every single homework question if possible, because you are more than likely to get a question on your test that is the exact same from your homework. So if you've done it, that's great for you.
Hi, I'm taking English 100, and I'm doing so because it's a prerequisite course for UBC Med. The course is an introduction to literary studies, and it's worth 6 units, meaning it's a full year course. I'm taking it in the summer, so it's fully online, and its duration is from the beginning of May to the beginning of August. We study literary genres, including novels, poetry, drama, and personal essays. There are no labs, and I would say a modest amount of coursework. You mainly just have to do your readings and write an essay every 2 weeks or so. I'm sure if you were to take it during the regular school year, though, the assignments would be more spread out. I think in terms of difficulty, the course isn't particularly intellectually straining or anything. It's just hard to get a high mark like any English course. It's not the kindest on your GPA, but it's less work than other elective courses, I think. I don't think there's anything you really need to memorize. You just need to do the work. As long as you read the works assigned to you, everything should make sense with minimal note-taking. I think the hardest part about the course is the marking. I think it's hard to get an A, but pretty easy to get a B. It was kind of awkward fitting this course into the health sciences schedule first year, mostly because we only had 1 real elective, and I chose to take Psych 100 like the majority of my peers. The course content itself is also pretty unrelated to the other courses we take. My experience so far is alright. It's pretty much what I expected out of an English course. I have Dr. May, and he's a nice guy, but again, a hard marker. I like the structure of the course because everything is laid out for you and you can do it on your own time because it's super organized. What I don't like is the difficulty of marking, because you can get a 75 and the feedback would be fantastic work, keep doing what you're doing.
I had been receiving many questions about AP and transferring credits too. So I actually talked to my friend Jessica to talk about her experience with transferring credit. Jessica transferred her credit from chemistry, so she took AP chemistry in high school, and here's what she says. She was introduced by her high school AP coordinator to transfer credit, and she thought that it would be nice to lessen her workload just to get a better transition to university. Some of the advantage, she said, is that she'll have more time to focus on other work, for example like schoolwork, and also other activities like extracurriculars. She also gets to go home fairly often. Most first-year students commute home during the weekend if they live close to Kingston. Some of the disadvantages, according to her, is that some of the Canadian med school require full credit for first-year courses, like chemistry. Because she was transferring credit, so it wasn't a full course load, but also it's only some med school. It wouldn't be counted towards her cumulative GPA, even though she wanted to. Another disadvantage, according to her, is that because she had more time on hand, she kind of got more homesick, and she felt like it was easier to get distracted because she had more time.
Thank you guys for watching the video. I hope you guys enjoy the content. Recently I decided to download TikTok and posting a little bit of my life there. So if you have TikTok, follow me, and I'll see you guys next time.